Welcome back to our Shining the Spotlight series, where we shine our light on the really, truly incredible initiatives that are working to drive positive change in STEM. Today, we have a really important topic. It's surrounding all things mentorship. And we are joined by an incredible individual whom I've had the pleasure of knowing for quite some time now and actually met at the Women in Tech Sweden conference where she was volunteering. And Christina Crafoord, it's so wonderful to welcome you.
Thank you, Ellie, so much. It's hard to hear all those great words about you being an inspiring person, but I'm starting to ease into it. Um, my name is Christina Crafoord, and I'm currently working at Scania's IT department, where I focus on HR applications actually as a role. But then my passion is with people and driving topics related to diversity and inclusion initiatives. If I could, I would work full time with those things, leadership and diversity and inclusion.
I've always admired the true passion you have for these topics. And I think it's actually how you and I got connected in the first place. You've been driving some great things at Scania. And today we're going to talk specifically about the exchange engine, which I know you are the co creator of with a colleague of yours, Erica. Can you describe what exchange engine means, mission, kind of what you set out to achieve with this?
So the exchange engine is it's a play with words also. I mean Scania, we create trucks, engines. And so when we decided to set out a mentorship program, we wanted to have a funny name that we could relate to. So the exchange engine is about exchanging perspectives. It's about meeting with someone who is not a copy of yourself. It's about fostering an inclusive culture. We started the initiative almost a year ago now, actually. It was after International Women's Day last year where we had an event at IT. And at the end of the event, we had a panel, and the director of my part of IT, where is the digital core. So we have like HR, we have finance, we have procurement, and we have all these major IT blocks that we take care of. And there was a question related to mentorship and that there was a lack of it at IT. And Staffan Widelin, who is the director, he was just looking at me and be like, yeah, Christina, we have been talking about this. We should do something. And my mind works that then I start to loop. Then I start thinking about that thing. And so I couldn't let it go. So already the next day I was like, okay, do I have any boundaries? How should I go about this? Because I want to start this mentorship program now. And what should we focus on? Uh, we decided that it should be about women empowerment. Being the leader as he is, he loves data. So he's like, can you connect it to any data and KPIs? It would be beneficial. So I set out on then finding out, okay, what will we actually do? Talking to my colleagues working with the diversity inclusion framework skill capture that we have in Scania. And there, Erica Theorian, my dear colleague, we started talking about, okay, but what can we actually do? And what do we want? It's not just a mentorship program. I mean, we want to do something that creates an effect not only here and now, but long term. So that's when we ended up with something that focuses not only on the gender balance, but also the generation balance, that you actually get the input from different generations, different parts. Someone that's not a copy of yourself. And we ended up, yeah, let's do a mentorship program, but let's try to make it a sponsorship program in the background. So we didn't sell it as a sponsorship program, but for ourselves, that's what we want to achieve. So that you actually also have an arena for people to be lifted up, if that is needed for those individuals.
I love that you focus on empowerment, the gender equality side of things, also generational, which is super important. How did you come to addressing these specific challenges for this program?
We wanted to build a really strong why for why we wanted to do it. So the way we approached it was that we built up the concept and then we presented it to our IT management team. And even though we felt great support from all of them, we really wanted to challenge ourselves with building a strong why. Uh, because when it comes to diversity and inclusion and the different activities you do, it's usually something on the side. It's not connected to business value or targets. It's more like, okay, yeah, we have our D&I index and we measure it one time a year. So we wanted to connect it to actual targets. So we used our external turnover targets and also some of the inputs from those exit interviews. So what are people saying when they're leaving? When they're leaving outside of Scania? Because we have also quite a few who moves internally at Scania since we're quite big. But what are they saying? The ones that leaves? Why are they leaving? What are they going away from? And I think that's where you have some of your challenges to address with different activities. So we used the data from a survey from 2022, I think, 2022. And there it was quite clear that leadership is one of the reasons. Poor leadership, lack of leadership, not the right leadership for those individuals. And we had quite a high, I think we had a 5% external turnover that we were looking at the time. And then we also connected it to our targets for gender balance in management. And Scania has an overall target of increasing 2% every year. At IT, when we presented to our management team, we were at 38% female managers in IT, which is great, but I mean, we want to do better. And also improve the overall balance in workforce, because there we were at 27% at the time. So we said like, okay, we need to use these numbers and see what we can do to improve them. So that was part of our sales pitch, like why we should do it. And we also connected it to our core values. At Scania, we used it like a Scania house, which is built on all our foundations, and we have a strong house. That's where our core values live and foster. So we want to cultivate that culture. So we sold it in really strong, and they were like, "Yeah, we already wanted you to do this before you came and presented it, but great that you've done all this effort." So that's, I mean, that's where how we sold it in, and then it was just a goal. We really wanted them to give us the sort of independency to work with it, because I mean, both me and Erica have other, like, we have our roles at Scania that we do. So she's a scrum master, I'm a group manager. We have responsibilities, but we really wanted to feel like we're allowed to take the time needed to do this program well, because it takes some effort to arrange different meetups, to do the pairing. I mean, I did not prepare for all of those things. It's the first time I'm doing a project of this size as a program. And it's been a fantastic journey, but some challenges, and we really wanted to feel like we're allowed to take the time to do this. We shouldn't do it after hours. We shouldn't do it during lunch. We should feel like, okay, I'm gonna spend some time in my calendar to plan our deep dive, for example, or our meetup. I mean, we've been having different segments of the program, but still, we need to feel that it's okay to take that time. So that's the support we were asking for.
And that is so important because we speak to so many people who are driving different initiatives and working on things. And it is like so many extra hours. They're working till like the early hours of the morning, sometimes even to do these things. So the fact that you could feel supported, the fact that you were so well prepared going into that and had that why, this is a really important lesson, I think, for anybody. Like, regardless if people are on board, still get to that core of the why you're doing it. Have the data, build the business case, because it does make things easier. And I guess it helps you to keep energized to keep going as well.
Definitely. And we've been very transparent internally also, because I mean, as I mentioned before, Scania is big. We are a global company with different parts. So we have been, when we've been broadcasting this, we've been like, okay, if you work anywhere else at IT, we are not running this program for you, but please reach out and we can present the concept. And you can do a copy paste on what works for you, because the concept can be a package that you can adapt to where you are. It's not something that's entirely relevant for IT, it's for everyone. So we have welcomed others to like reach out. We could tell you our story and how we've been thinking, and you can either do a copy paste or you take the stuff that fits your business area.
I love that because to make a change, to make an impact, you have to be working together. You have to share ideas. You have to want to help one another. And I think that's a really important thing here as well, just like vocalizing that throughout the organization, being that kind of resource to speak to for advice, to help along the way. That is really wonderful that you are sharing that formula to the wider organization. And I know you mentioned a little bit around like the targets and enhancing the diversity. It's really an important focus at Scania. I just want to know from your perspective, why is that so important?
It's good business. It's the simple answer, right? It's good for business, but for us, it also comes down to our core values a lot. I mean, you can talk about that it's the right thing to do, but it's also meaning it. Uh, and if you have a culture that's inclusive, if people really feel like they can contribute with everything that they are, it's better for business in the long run. And if you are at a place where you feel valued, I strongly believe that you contribute. If you're asked to do that little extra mile, you would do so because you feel that you are valued and you are involved in decisions. You get to sort of tap into your creative side and address the different problems. You're not told what to do, you're asked what to do about it. Uh, and I think that's really important.
What you've said there is so bang on. And I like to just ask that. I feel like we speak about it a lot, but sometimes just reinforcing the why it's so important is really important so we don't lose sight of it along the way too. Christina, what I love about you is like your drive, your ambition to make this happen. You had that conversation, and then the next day you was already thinking about, right, how can we make this happen? So can you talk us through like having that initial idea, creating the concept, and then developing it into a fully operating program, that journey?
It was an interesting journey. So it was a lot of sort of thought processes in different loops in my head, and then brainstorming together with Erica a lot. And then when we concreted it, we assigned ourselves a sponsor from the management team that we sort of had as a sounding board. Um, we didn't really use that much, actually, to be honest. But it was nice to have. It was like a safety net. And when we had the decision then to say, yes, you can go, we decided that, okay, let's start in the fall. So we started after the summer holidays where we would go in and we sort of set out this communication plan, how to communicate, where to communicate, trying to capture everyone that needs to know that this exists and how they would apply. We had a quite short time. So the thing we did was that we created a survey with I think it was 8 questions that they had to answer to when they applied for the program. And we used those answers to pair them up. So that was our way of finding how different are you, but do you have something small in common? They need to be something that sort of like starts you talking. So we tried to find questions, and here we have the help of AI a little bit to be efficient. Uh, So we created a survey, people applied, and then we closed. We did the pairing simply by using the inputs from these questions and seeing, okay, who would be a good fit to not be the same person. Um, we had a good interest, and in some pairs we really found like our stars, the sponsorship teams that we like. These are the ones we really want to follow from a sponsorship period because they would really fit into all the criteria that we would want to see in the program. You had like an elderly male supporting a young female, or you had a young male supported by an elderly woman. Um, and all other things being different. Um, but we also had, actually, we had a great deal of younger talents who applied and not as many senior leaders. So we sort of splitted it to be senior leaders and younger talents. Like, okay, either you've not been so many years at Scania, or you've been many years at Scania, or you've been a leader for a couple of years, you've been want to be a leader. So different criteria that would sort of filter you out in order to find your match to be not like you. And we wanted to target the senior leaders not only people who are managers, but also technical leaders. So we have a lot of solution architects, for examples, who are leaders in our company. We also wanted them to be part of this program to foster a culture not only for managers, but for leaders in general. So we did a pairing, and when we realized that we have a lot of young talents here who wants to be part of this program, but not enough senior leaders to match them with, then we had to go out and sort of headhunt. Okay, what profile would we be looking for? Who do we know that we can ask? So some got dragged in so that we could pair them up with someone. And what we realized then was that our communication plan had faltered because when we reached out saying, hey, you should be part of our mentorship program, they were like, oh, what are you talking about? This sounds amazing. Why haven't I heard about this? So that was a learning.
So how might you go about that differently now if you were to do it again?
If I do it again, I would spend more time on sending the message. And actually, also, since we went to the management team at IT, I would sort of give them the lesson to also make sure to distribute this now. We actually followed up on who signed up on the different departments that we have. And if we had coverage from all of the departments. So that we did, and trying to be like, okay, hey, you guys, you don't have anyone who has signed up. Have you informed about this? So I think I would be even more clearer with the expectations on the higher management to send a message that this is an important program that we would like you to participate in. Please take time to participate in this program if you fit this profile.
And also, again, though, like with knowing your why you're doing this, it can help to enhance that communication piece when you're trying to bring more people in because storytelling now more than ever is so important and just giving context on the why you're doing it and why someone who is more senior should get involved. Because let's face it, when you're a mentor and a mentee, it's a two-way street and you're both learning actually from one another.
Yeah, we really wanted it to be a reversed mentorship, like a doubled up. So you do both. And I think that's something that we need to do differently when we do. So this was the first round, but when we do it the next time, based on the feedback that we received, is to set the clearer pace of maybe in the beginning to be a mentorship program where we expect the seniors to sort of invite the more junior talents. They sort of hold the pace in the beginning, and then we have a switch point. So we set the expectations on the different roles a little bit clearer going in, because that's been the feedback we've had. Uh, but another learning is also that, I mean, the ones that are participating, they are the ones that really cares. They are the ones that really want to work with a more inclusive culture. So they will help us send the message now going forward. We've been asked also now to, because we have, I think the last meetup that we actually have in 1 month almost for the program, where we will close it and we will ask for more feedback of what should we improve, how can we do better, and then we will present that to the management team like, okay, this is the result and this is what we would like to do different next time. Because we believe in continuous improvements, and we believe it's fail fast but learn from it. So we really want to see, okay, we set out to do this. This is the results. Okay, well, how will we adapt? What will we do different next time? Um, and I would really wish to, you really want those naysayers to actually participate in a program like this. The ones that don't believe that diversity and inclusion is important and it's not adding business value. The ones that maybe have a narrow perspective, but that's also hard, because if you also then match someone senior with someone young, you really have to have the right fit for that individual for it to be good. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard for a junior talent to actually have a standing point to convey that person. So yeah, here I haven't really thought that out entirely. So inspiration for that will be welcome, but that would be that would be the goal, to actually get those to be like, okay, here is where I will get different perspectives. I understand that I have to change. This would help me to do that. I will enroll. But we have some way before we're there.
It's tough for sure. And I would love to say there's like one winning formula that works every single time. But much like D, E, and I and B, it's not one size fits all. Something that I've seen work quite well in other mentorship programs, particularly getting people on board who maybe are a little bit skeptical, is really putting the focus in on how this is going to benefit them as an individual, their career development, their learning, how it's going to expand them, evolve them, and thinking about, okay, so let's say this person, they want to enhance their leadership more, they're striving for a promotion, tie that to these kind of promotion goals. So, okay, so you want to hit another promotion internally. If you are seen to be mentoring X amount of people in this space from underrepresented communities, this is a KPI that we're going to tie to that achievement. So, almost you're making it like an achievable goal so they feel maybe more motivated to do it. I've seen that work well sometimes. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting different loops now already starting this idea and how to adapt the program. But I think that, I mean, that's just fantastic. And we've been having a deep dive focusing on career development in the program. So it fits well also with what we have been doing along the journey, but also making those selling points like, okay, but how has it been for the ones actually being part of the first program when we're going to communicate the next round? And how we can tie it to goals and targets. And if you know where you want to go, you have to have a way there. This is maybe one of those ways.
I love the fact that you are taking feedback continuously because often I think as well, people are scratching their heads thinking, what do we do? What do we change? How do we evolve? The answers are in front of you through the experiences of others, through their thoughts, their opinions, and just having conversations about this is super important. How do you make sure that the mentorship not only fosters support, but also inclusion and equity, equality?
We've been trying to set the tone already in the beginning with phrasing what we aim to do with fostering an inclusive culture, but also that we've actually had different homeworks in between our sessions where we provide them with a little food for thought that we either say, okay, either they talk about it in their pairs, which we call growth allies, so they grow together. Um, and there we've been trying to focus on like, okay, maybe dare to try something differently in order to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Maybe focus on, okay, how is this thing I'm doing affecting me? Uh, Maybe you're uncomfortable talking in front of people. Okay, why am I uncomfortable talking in front of people? So sort of create a spark of how does things around me affect me? And what do I do in those scenarios? And what are other people facing around me? Is there anyone who actually feel excluded? Maybe you don't realize it until you see it. So trying to open up other people's eyes with these homework questions. I think we had one like, okay, try do something differently from where you previously do. And specifically in a context where you feel, okay, this might actually be awkward, but do it anyway. And what happens? Uh, So we've been trying to, and then we do a retrospective when we meet together in the growth ally pairs, and we say, okay, did anyone do that? What have you observed? Have you observed anyone who had been sort of not been included in a conversation? How has it been? I mean, we're a multilingual company where we try to talk English most of the time, but we are based in Södertälje in Sweden, so there is a lot of Swedish going around. So a normal assumption is always that Swedish happens from time to time. Uh, and I mean, I think that's one of the basic things we can do is to talk a language that everyone understands. Just in case of someone else coming into the meeting or where they are having lunch. If the person wants to practice their Swedish, that's a different story because that's also a problem. We Swedes are so inquired to talk English. We love to show our skills. So I've heard that that's a problem too. But if they want to learn Swedish, it's like, yeah, but you need to let me talk. But no, we've been trying to focus our deep dives, which we have had different deep dives in the program that focuses on the topics of inclusive leadership, unconscious bias, psychological safety. And there we had different leaders from around the company come in different settings. So we've had a gamified panel dialogue, we've had workshop with career development, we've had a rapid campfire with our CIO. So I actually got to ask him the question, so what do I, Christina, have to do in order to become you?
Nice.
I mean, it was really interesting in general. I mean, there's so many different inspiration around you if you just go out and search for it. And we had diff- people from different parts of the organization sharing their stories, being very open and transparent, and that I'm grateful for. And that's been one of the successful in our program is that we've been able to sort of create that safe area where people really share. They're really showing their vulnerability and giving concrete examples of what you've had to do either as a leader to create a more inclusive environment or as a leader being excluded in order to be included instead. So I think we've found good people to share their stories. And as you said, storytelling, it's so important. And I think that's been part of the success to show the way and what people actually are doing.
It's so important to share. Share the journeys, share the stories. Talk about the hard times as well. Like, talk about those times where it was really tough, you had to overcome things, and you're focusing on not just awareness, but action by giving people that homework, the reflective time, which isn't easy because often we forget to do that, the important stuff. Reflect on our days, reflect on the behaviors we've seen, we've experienced. Sit with those feelings. How do they make us feel? How can we take action on that? So I really love that you focus on these important points. If someone wants to create a mentorship program in their community, nonprofit, even organization, what advice do you have for them?
My advice would be to build your strong why and to really get to that point of, okay, but what do we want to achieve? Is it here and now? Is it long term? Do we have any targets to connect it to? And also how to make sure that the mentorship pairs are meeting up and that they get the value out of it, like the expectations, set the expectations of the different sides of the mentorship program, the participants. That what we will do differently next time. So I think that's one of the major learnings to really set the scene before going in, because that will make it go faster in the beginning. Otherwise, you will stumble a little bit, maybe. Depends on what level you're doing it at. And also, don't traditionally, I think we do mentorship programs with the highest management. So you use the highest management to be like the senior leaders who get to lead the way. But a lot of big companies have many different levels of leaders. So utilize those that maybe don't get the possibility to be that senior leader in the context because they are in the shadow of their senior leaders. So dare to try.
Thank you so much, Christina. I've loved hearing more about this incredible initiative that you're working on and what you're driving, the exchange engine. It's so needed, so important. It's growing as well. It's evolving. So there's many more years of this to come. What change do you want to see in the industry?
The change I want to see is the one I see around me, where you are valued as an individual, regardless of gender, nationality. I mean, whatnot. You are contributing with the skills you have. I mean, I have a background from working with horses. I was a showgroom. I had no idea I was going to work in IT. I just needed money to spend on my horse, really. That's the only reason I started working with IT in the beginning. But that has evolved from like a passion for people and problems into, oh, I'm never going to leave. So I want the industry to be open for other perspectives and seeing that there's more to it than just what you see on the papers. You also have to get to know each individual in order to see what they actually can contribute with. And that the I've actually learned a new word for soft skills. Let's see if you have heard about this, but instead of soft skills, we call them power skills because it's about empowerment. So that the power skills, they are the ones that will actually drive us further. They are the ones that would make us evolve. So let's not forget about those.
Let's embrace our power skills because they are so valued and so important. And also, in what is like a very crowded job market, your power skills are what is going to set you aside, also, right? Like it really is. But it's all about embracing that diverse perspective. Your journey, Christina, the evolution of where you started to where you are today, being in tech, is really like a prime example of how it doesn't necessarily matter what background you have. There's a space for you somewhere, and you can be afraid, but do it anyway. So there's like a theme of what we've been speaking about today too. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ali, for having me.